Hey, welcome back once again, and we are going to continue with our tutorial. For this tutorial, I'm going to introduce the Delphi combo box. So in this case, what we will do is we're going to store and retrieve data in a combo box. One from a database, and the other one is how to add values into it. So this is a very simple tutorial. So let me start with creating here some labels. Okay, we just need a very simple form. But before that, let me check first our database because this is where we are going to get our data. So in our Northwind database, which I have uploaded together with the previous lecture, part of the link in the other videos where you see the folder for add, edit, delete, in here you can also see there the Northwind database. So you just import it in your MySQL, and then under the Northwind we have what we call the shippers table, and under the shippers we are going to retrieve the company names and then place it in what we call a combo box. Okay. Right, just let me prepare the interface here. Storing and retrieving data in a combo box, just for us to give you a much more informative screens. Okay, let me prepare this thing. Right, so we have a combo box. Now, since we are going to need, or we are going to access our database, again, we need a database components. So I need a connection, and then I need also a data set. So I'll just configure the data set to the corresponding username and password. Okay, then let me add something here. Okay, let me just add the buttons. One, this data will load values, so this will contain data from database. Then another one here, let me just place this here. This is manual adding of values. And then let me rename this to assign data. Okay. Another one, we have a button here to clear the contents of a combo box. And then let me just name it manual add, and then selected data. Okay, so again, don't forget to save your project. Always make sure to save your project. So let me see. Once you have done that, basically this is all what we need. Okay, so I hope you have this one ready. Okay, I just loaded what I have created earlier. Now to start with, we need to establish the connection. So kindly fill out the connection settings. So in this case, since we're just using one form and we are trying to connect data from a simple table and retrieve them, so we'll just have to place the connection and the data set in the form. But if you have a data module where the data set and the connection is there, of course, take advantage of that one. This is just to illustrate to you here how to utilize how to use Combobox, storing and retrieving data. So this is just a very simple tutorial. It's for actually for newbies, but I hope you will learn something from it. Connection, connect the dataset to the connection or assign. So in here, what will happen is that when I click on load values, the combo box will be filled with values. When I select assign data, assuming we want to assign a data that is coming from the database, it will point to that value. This one is to clear the combo box. Here we have values for adding, manual adding of items in the combo box. Here, select the data. So let's see what will happen just to illustrate to you. So when I click load values, it will display the list. So since we're after of the company in the shippers table, so we will be getting this column and in the ID. Load values. Now assuming that we have an assigned value, how do we do that one? When I click assign data, if you notice, it changes to shipping company B. Okay, so let me clear that. And this time, take note there are no contents in this combo box. Now if I click on manual add, it will add the names. Okay, or what if I select Blake Smith? Let's see. You have selected Blake Smith. The index of selected value is 1. So for combo boxes, the item index starts with 0. Okay, now let's check out the code. What do I have here? So when I load a form, I have here the onShow event, and then I want to query the data. I want to query the data that I want to load in what do you call this, in the combo box. Then I just want to make sure that there are no existing items in the combo box, so I want to clear CMB data that items that clear. And then in the load values, this is where you populate the values in the combo box. So in here, what we're trying to take advantage of, let me just remove some of these comments that I created earlier. What will happen here is we load the data, and we'll make sure the data set contains records first. So we need to do some checking. Now, the combo box in Delphi is actually it doesn't support columns. But what we're trying to achieve here is that I'm taking advantage of the add object method. So this particular method allows us to add string plus ID to the values, ID of the values to the list. So if you notice here, let me maximize. I have here the string, and I also added the ID. So if you have not tried using this one, then it might be a good thing to take advantage of this. So if you notice, we already have retrieve or query. By the way, you can always transfer the query you have there. All right, what if we just transfer it anyway to make things much more simpler and straightforward? Okay, let me just label here. So query data, clear combo box. Okay, load data. Okay, and then make sure dataset contains records. So again, we want to query data, clear the combo box, and then I need to select the first value. Okay, just to make sure, actually, the first record in the results in our query select dataset. Then I want to check if there are any records existed. Otherwise, if there are no records, then there's no need for us to process or add values to the combo box. So if there's a the record count is not equal to 0, then while not end of file not equal to true, then we add the items. So this is the name of a combo box, cmb data dot items dot add object. Okay, so you can see here the function contains parameters of a constant s string and the a object, which refers to a t object, which means it can handle any value of t object, what do you call this, size. So it's basically a pointer. Okay, so it can store anything of the size of a t object. So what will happen here is that after the query we store the values. The first one is the company. So the company name will be the only value that will be displayed on the combo box, but the ID here will be hidden, but we can still access that one. So since we are going to load several records, so we need to proceed to the next. So this is actually a loop. Okay, we set the combo box to the first record, so the item index here, index rather, is equal to 0. Okay, so after that, let me